Well, here we are. Episode 12, LotTalk, powered by Lotpop. Welcome back, folks, but we got a special treat. We are coming to you live from the Lotpop HQ right here in Olathe, Kansas. Now, gentlemen, I'm excited to be here, but I'm not going to lie to you. It is colder than a well digger's ass here. I mean, I'm looking outside, and our up bus is snowed in.
Buried in snow.
It's buried in snow.
Buried in snow.
But we're going to have some fun today.
Yeah.
I know Brett producing this. He's really nervous.
He just dropped his breakfast sandwich.
Because all of us are together.
Exactly
we're going
right.
to do this live and in person.
Exactly right.
And I know he's a little nervous about it. But what I'm more nervous about is our topic today. Our topic, we're talking about the tail wagging the dog.
Coming strong.
We're talking about the inmates running the asylum. Now, John, a couple years ago, we were at Digital Dealer. A couple years ago, we were at Used Car Week.
Yeah.
Over the last several years, we've been at various different events. We've been in various dealerships. Ronaldo, you've done various trainings.
Yes, sir.
And we keep hearing, well, I just can't get my people to do it. Folks, let me tell you now, if you're watching, if you're listening, you better buckle up. You better wear your helmet because we're going to get in your face today. We're going to get in your face. And it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's a moment for a gut check. Now, as we always do, we want to take the suck out of this business. We want to make it fun again. But we also, 100%, we care about our dealers, and that's why we've been doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't charge for this. We give out so much good content, and not just our content. I mean, we've had Frank Knox, we've had Stacy, we've got more people coming this year.
The two kings came on the show, man.
Oh, yeah.
We had the vet.
Come on, brother.
Tommy
Come
Gibbs, Jason Rice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to get in your business today.
Yeah.
So, John.
Start of the new year, man. We got to roll.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get everybody to fall in line. Let's just call it what it is. And you've heard more times than not, dealer principals tell you. Dealer principals.
Yeah.
The guys with their name on the building.
Yeah.
Point blank tell you, well, I can't get my people to do it. When you hear a dealer say, I can't get my people to do it, first thought comes to your mind.
I don't understand. I mean, that's the first thought that comes to my mind is what are you telling me? How did you build what you built as a dealer? You obviously are brilliant. You obviously have talent, or you wouldn't be where you're at. It's not. I mean, we all have been in the business over 30 years. Mm-hmm. We know what it takes to own a dealership. It's not easy, and they don't hand those things out. You know, they don't hand those things out like brownies at a picnic, right? And so, honestly, when I hear that, it baffles my mind. And again, I understand the transition we've gone through over, as generations change. I get all that, but when you tell me I can't get my people to do that, we were just listening to it before we come on the podcast, Andrew Frisella, and I wish I could play it, but there's so many F-bombs in it that we couldn't get away with it, right? But basically his point is you shove everything off the table. In order to get the job done, you got to do the work. There is no secret sauce to it. It's work, right? So what you're communicating to me when you say I can't get my people to do that is you're communicating to your staff. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Just come in and do what you want to do. You don't need to work.
It's a funny thing about it. I used to tell you when I was back in the stores, and even to this day to our people, I used to tell people that work, it's not a place you go to. It's an actual verb. It's a thing that you do.
100%. Yeah.
We got to take action. We got to work.
Let me correct you a little bit because we've all said that. Working here, right?
Yes.
It's something we get to do.
Right.
100%.
And I think that's a major problem right there in itself, right? If you don't look at it that way, that I get to do this,
right.
In my opinion, if you're an owner or a general manager at a store and you got people that are not looking at it that way, that I get to come in every day and do this,
mm-hmm.
You got to figure out to cut that cancer out of there, right?
Well, but think about it this way: when we talk to dealers, general managers, the responsibility that they have, I mean, every decision that they make is going to affect every single household represented in that dealership. Right.
That's an awesome responsibility, right?
But it's a blessing as well.
It is a blessing.
But with that comes a lot of responsibility to hold people accountable.
You're going biblical on us, brother.
I'm sorry.
Come on, man. I love
it's
it.
just the way I was raised.
Preach, baby. Preach.
I mean, but seriously, when the things that you're given, you've been blessed with.
Yeah.
And you have to be a good steward of that. And part of it comes to call your brother to the side and say, hey, man, you're kind of half-assing it. Or I know you're capable of more than this.
Yeah.
Can you bring your A game tomorrow so that we can, as a team, achieve the goals that we have in front of us? And we don't have that anymore. Some of it's generational because the older we get a little softer in the way that we deal with people. For most people,
or some
for
of
most people,
or some of us get a little bit get off my lawn type.
Right. But in the workplace,
You said it.
yeah. But in the workplace, a lot of people are skittish. I mean, they don't approach things and conversations that they have the same way that they did
But they
in
don't
building
want the
the
facts.
business.
They don't. But see, that's the problem, though, Ronaldo,
Right.
is they don't work the facts. I mean, we talk about it. We talk about the WTF.
Mhm.
Do we, from a Lotpop standpoint, do we have the Lotpop definition of WTF, which is work the facts,
Right.
100%?
Yes.
And we tell our dealers when they first come on with us throughout the process, whether they're, like the Lasco group that's been with us for 8 years,
Mhm.
okay, we'll sit there and tell them, hey, let's work the facts. But also in the same token, when we're providing those facts week after week after week, the process, the procedure,
Right.
and they're not following them, we're going to come back on in the next call that we're having with them, or if we noticed it in between calls, and we're giving them the urban dictionary of WTF. Okay.
Yep.
We're giving them the what the F are you doing here?
Right.
But I think in today's time, to you guys' point, when you generationally look at this, it's almost this fear factor of, oh, if I go tell Ronaldo,
He's going to get mad and leave.
what the F are you doing?
Mhm.
I'm going to hurt his feelings.
Right.
Well, guys, we're in the car business, and feelings, at least from 1994 until now, they were never a part of what it takes to sell a car. So for y'all that are listening,
Only from the customer side.
Right. We used
the
it.
customer.
Yeah, we used
emotion,
it to get them
emotion from the customer
involved
side, but
emotionally.
but
100%.
feelings on the dealership
but to
side.
get the job done,
100%.
to get the job done, you got to leave your baggage checked at the door.
100%.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because guess what? That little baggage claim guy,
Mhm.
he's going to still be there with all your baggage
Absolutely.
when you go to leave the dealership that day.
Yep.
Okay. But right now, we've got to get back to taking the raw emotion out of this.
Yep.
Because we have to work the facts. And we're not even talking about working the facts with your inventory or your leads. We got to talk about the facts that John was talking about, that I get the opportunity to come work with millions of dollars of inventory. That's not my millions of dollars.
Shoot, what a honestly, brother, what a blessing that is, man, that you get to go in as a general manager, as a used car manager, as a new car manager, you get to go in. And that's why I said about the owner. The owner, those dollars in inventory are his investment, and you get an opportunity to manage that, right?
Yeah.
And you have the responsibility, but you don't have the weight because it's not your dollars,
Right.
And maybe that's part of the problem, right? And I wanted to ask you guys too, when we're talking about this subject, and I know I said generational, I know I mentioned that, but also, I would assume you guys would agree. A lot of it can come from a training issue, right? From a lack of consistent training, right?
Absolutely. 100%. And I beat the training drum because
I hear you.
It's near and dear to my heart. But you always hear that, when you're following up with, I can't get my people to do this. And it always follows up with, well, what can you do? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him to drink. If you put salt in a horse's oats, he'll drink all day long. And that's the training process.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so many people have kind of lost that connective tissue that is between what somebody's coming to work for and the job that they're doing. You connect those two dots, and they leave their baggage at the door.
Sure.
But they come strolling through with that work pail that they got to have every single day to follow the procedures and the processes and do the job to get the pay that they're exchanging their time for. It's just one of those things, but we got to get back to the point where, our relationship here between the three of us, if I'm wrong and you guys come to me and say, Ronaldo, kind of need to pick this up, or we dropped the ball here. I appreciate that more than you just walking down the hall and not saying anything to me about me trying to slide through.
That's that generational.
But hold on. So just to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
With us on our Monday call,
Mhm.
we're on that call for an hour and a half on a Monday. 3 of us, right?
Right.
Yep.
How many times have we just called one another out on that call?
Oh,
Every single
and you
day.
can see all 3 of us, right?
Yep.
Sometimes we hit a nerve, right? And you can see it in the facial expression.
Yep.
But it causes us to pause, think, right? We reflect, and then everything's good, man. We're coming because we at the bottom. The bottom line is we understand we got a job to do, right?
Absolutely.
And so if we're challenging each other, right?
Yep.
We're doing is I'm biblical again, brother. Is iron sharpens iron, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So Chris,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about before we started this, right? Because it's important. I want you to get it out there, right? When we onboard a dealer,
Yeah.
what is the common phrase that you
It's the
tell
number
that
one
dealer
phrase.
every time?
It's the number one phrase. And for those listening in, I would love for you to drop a comment on what you think about this, because at the end of the day, I really don't care what you think about it, to be honest.
I was wondering if you're going to throw that in there.
But for those of y'all watching, drop a comment. But we have more people appreciate this than not appreciate it. And I want you to hear this close. Our job here at Lotpop, and we take this very, very seriously, we are not here to be friends with you. Let me say that one more time. We are not here to be friends with you. We are here to help you sell more cars and make more money. That is the job that you have hired us for, is to not tell you the world is rainbows and unicorns, and to sit there and tell you how wonderful things are, how good of a job you're doing. Because if I want to know how good of a job I'm doing or how great I am, I'm going to go ask my 12-year-old, because in her eyes, nothing is wrong.
Right.
But if I want to go ask on how I'm doing as a father, how I'm doing as a husband, I'm going to ask my wife, and she's going to be really candid with me and tell me I suck.
She's going to hit you with the facts, brother.
Hey, man, she's going to go straight.
Y'all know WTF? Steph is going to hit you with the WTF.
She's going to hit me with that.
But she's going to use the Urban Dictionary WTF on
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. She's going to go Urban Dictionary. But this, we were all talking about this, I wrote a word down. I went, why? Okay, so we have to think about this from a dealer principal standpoint, from a manager standpoint, and from a sales and support staff standpoint of things. Why did we as a dealer principal decide to take the headache on of the building, of the land, of the OEM, of the used car inventory, to what you said, Ronaldo, the responsibility of the employee and their families? Why did we decide to do that? As a manager, whether it's a general manager, used car manager, GSM, it doesn't matter. Why did we decide this was the dealership we were going to work for? Why did we even decide to get in the car business?
Right.
As a salesperson or the support staff in that dealership, why did we decide this was the industry we're going to get in? Because I wrote something down that I'm going to share with our team collectively as a whole, and I'll share it here, the abbreviated version of it. But there's a huge difference in having desire and a plan. Right. You could have all the desire in the world, but no plan. And it's simply that. It's just desire. It's like a flash in a pan. It's like a dream. Yep. You could have a plan, but no desire. And it just becomes a mundane job that you're working.
Yep.
It's a job. It's I don't get.
I'll do this. I'll do this until I figure out what I really want to do.
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when we can start understanding this, why we are doing it, then maybe, just maybe, the tail won't wag the dog no more.
Just maybe.
I think it's fantastic where you're going with that. So let me circle back to you on that. Who needs to set that? Who needs to set the answer to that question?
Dealer principal.
Thank you.
Period.
Thank you.
Period. Period into paragraph. And here's the thing for those listening and for those watching, if you don't have clear direction or vision from your ownership down, from the ownership down. I don't care if you're working for a public company, okay? I don't care if you're working for a privately held large auto group. There are still people from the very, very top all the way down that have a vision of what they want their businesses to run like. If you don't understand what that vision is, to be able to understand if that aligns with your individual core, then you don't need to work there.
Hey, I think I need to say something here too, based on that, because I'm sitting there thinking while you're talking and where we're going today, right? We're probably going to rub some nerves today. And I could see if there's a GM or a dealer principal watching this, especially a dealer principal, looking at us three going, well, how in the hell you guys know? Because you've never owned a dealership, right? All I want to say to that is valid question. But please understand that the reason why we felt like this was actually Brett, our producer, is the one that said, hey, you guys, this is something you guys ought to address, because he hears us in our meeting. We're here today for our quarterly meeting. So we're talking about our plan for 2025 during this time, right? And getting set up for NADA, right? So Brett's around enough that he hears us talking about our dealers and what we're dealing with on our dealers. And he's the one that said, hey, this is what you guys ought to cover, because he hears us talking about that a lot, right? And so back to what I was saying, as far as a dealer principal looking at us and going, well, you guys never ran a dealership. What I want to say to you is,
we've never owned one. We've never owned one.
I'm sorry, not run, but owned one, right?
Yes.
How I want to answer that is, and listen here, I was a GM for several years, right? And I'll say emphatically in the camera, looking at the camera, there's plenty of my staff that could say, hey, he could have done this better, and valid point, right? Because I wasn't perfect, right? But all I'm saying is, now being with Lotpop for 9 years, going on 9 years, and the thousands of dealers that I've worked with, and the hundreds of dealers and thousands of dealers that the three of us have helped and worked with, there is no doubt on our end, when you know that, how we can tell that a dealership has a owner that manages top down and has a plan. You mentioned Lasco Ford. Is there any chance that Matt Lasco would ever utter, I can't get my people to do this?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. And so, Ronaldo, you and I were talking this morning about a dealer that signed up with us, consciously signed up with us for our services back in August of last year.
Yes, sir.
Right. And what are we having an issue with? This is January of 2025.
5 months later.
What has happened?
They have completely dropped off the planet. And we still have not completed a 3-session training program.
And they haven't even started into the performance side of what we do.
All right.
The consulting
And
part of it.
Ronaldo, let me ask you, when you look at their data profile, how do they look as an operating dealer on their used car side and from their performance side?
Let me put this as positively as I can. Oh, no, the gloves are off today. Hold up. The gloves are off today. We're just going to call an ace and a spade a spade.
They're about 16 points shy of being mediocre.
So listen, yeah.
So, in Chris Keene terms, they don't know sick 'em from come here. And, and it's mind-boggling because as you mentioned, we had a general manager come in, said, I want to partner with you guys, inked up, leaned on a pen, put some pressure down.
And loved it.
Yeah.
I remember the conversations during the launch and all that, how much he loved what we did and how much he talked about how he was going to get the team involved. And I mean to cut you off there, man, but it just, look, I could understand how people watching this could say, that's you guys, you're
snake oil.
You're what's the pontificating and bloviating on this topic. And I'm just telling you from a perspective of helping dealers, there is a large chasm between the dealers that get it and those dealers would not ever utter, I can't get my people to do that, and the ones that struggle consistently from our perspective and what we you know, with our we just talked about this yesterday with our CEO, Jason Rice, right? And he says this all the time. If you go back and watch any of his videos on YouTube and he's talking about dealers that come aboard with us, you'll hear him say this every time, right? The first 30 days, they love us because we'll get volume up, right? But if they have aging and they have broken processes, right? If we don't get those fixed right away, the second 30 days, so now we're going in from 30 to 60 days, they're happy with us, but they're starting to realize that we're not a flip a switch type,
Set it
and forget it type situation.
Yep.
And then from 60 to 90 days, if it's not fixed, they're frustrated as crap because they're not getting the result that they thought they were going to get when they signed up with us. And almost in every instance, and I'm not saying it's not our fault, it's your fault. I'm not saying any of that, but being here as long as I have and as long as you two gentlemen have, and almost in every instance, it's a process breakdown and it's a not being managed from the top down that's causing a problem with the things that need to happen from a coaching perspective for them to fix what's broken in their new or used car departments. It's not getting done, and so they're still struggling.
You're 100% correct, John, because regardless, I mean, let's take Lotpop out of this for a minute. Let's take Lotpop out of it. How many times have we sat there and taken a new dealer on, or even a dealer that's been on with us for 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years now? Okay. How many times have we sat there and we go look inside their CRM and they're using 10% of the CRM, and the 10% they're using, they're not even using it right.
Yeah.
How many times we've looked at their inventory management tool? The same situation. How many times have we looked at or asked the question, hey, go look in your back-end tool of your third-party site. Well, I don't know how to get into that. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you serious?
Yeah.
But that, again, and I'm going to step on the toes. And you said, our perception of it. Well, hey, I'm here to tell you guys right now, it's not a perception, because perceptions become reality. We are working the facts and we see it. Excuse me. It's not perception. It is a reality. And the reality of it is, from the top down, we don't have a lot of leadership from the top down. Hey, it is different when it comes to Lotpop. And am I saying we're better than anybody else? No. But what I'm saying, for when it comes to Lotpop, what did we spend all day yesterday doing? What we did is we listened to the vision and forecast from our president, founder, and CEO.
Yep.
From Jason Rice yesterday.
Yep.
He said, gentlemen, this is what I want done. This is where I see us going. Do y'all see a problem with this, or this? Are we doing this, or this wrong? But ultimately, how we get to here, y'all are hired to figure that shit out.
Right? You know why you ask if you see a problem with it? Because he's going to circle back around and say, hold on a second, brother, back in
You told me. I asked you. Nobody stepped up.
Yeah.
That wasn't a problem when we talked about it in January.
Exactly. But here's the point to that. The point to that is it was clear, it was concise. We know our directive, we know our marching orders, but more importantly, we know why we're doing it.
Right.
Yep.
We know why we're doing it.
Right.
And that's where I think the tail wagging the dog is a challenge, because not everybody in our stores that we manage, and not everybody in the stores that come on with us, not everybody in the stores that we get an opportunity to break bread with and rub elbows with at the different events like NADA coming, at the end of this month.
Yep.
Not everybody knows what that vision is from the top down.
Right. Well, and I thought you brought up one word, the old L word, that I think is going to be the game changer and differentiator between dealerships across the country. And the L word being leadership.
Mm-hmm.
If you have somebody at the helm who is willing to die on that mountain, whatever it is, their why, but set a course and adhere to it and say, hey, this is where we're going. All right. This is how I plan to get there. Give me your input. If you see a better way to get there, or if you think we should take a different path, let's talk about it. Let's work it out. Let's get our course set, written down, everybody committed to, and then we're going to take off. Very few people that I see in leadership roles
Mhm.
are not leaders. And that is a huge issue. Can we fill the gap there? Only to a certain extent.
Yeah.
We can call people out and say, hey,
And we can show a path.
they're not doing.
We can show a better path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're not getting the things that you need to get because you haven't stood firm on why you're doing what you're doing.
You're right, but let me defend the leaders for a minute. Okay. Let me defend the leaders for a minute. Have the supporting staff or those that are following the leader, have they been able to articulate what it is that makes them tick? Now, follow me here for a minute. If they can't articulate what makes them tick, the leader has to be able to draw that out of them. But also in the same token, the leader can't get frustrated with that individual contributor not being able to articulate it, because there's a reason that leader, that dealer, that GM, that ownership, that C-suite is in the position they're in, because they've been able to articulate it. So they can't sit there and get upset at their team for not coming out saying, hey, this is what I need help with. So I can see where part of it from the leadership standpoint, I can't get my people to do it.
Mhm.
Well,
Is that the same thing though?
It kind of is.
Oh, no, I'm saying what makes you tick and what I need help with. Are those the same things?
No.
No,
I don't.
Because let me ask you this, and as a leader, especially in our industry, right?
Mhm.
Should we not be trying to find that stuff out at the hiring table?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, Stacy talked about that.
Or
when
is
we
it
had her on.
or is it too easy to say I need to fill a chair?
Well, it's a warm body.
Right.
Right.
I think it goes to both, because you guys brought it up earlier. It goes to both points, right? Sometimes I was there, raised my hand in the air. Sometimes you get concerned about putting pressure, or saying what you need to say, or bringing heat, because now that person says, well, there's plenty of other dealerships. I'll go work here. Right now you got an empty chair. And at least in my store at that time that I was GM, those chairs were $100,000 chairs, right?
Mhm.
You had to generate that. That was the income. You had to generate that money at those chairs. So, that's a big chair to fill, right? So sometimes I think that's our worst enemy, right? Is we feel hemmed in by that, and then you make a poor decision. You fill a chair, and it's unproductive, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, my philosophy on hiring has always been that you hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah.
So, because if you do your due diligence up front, you're assured that you got the right person. If somebody believes in your vision,
Well, you believe
your
in it, or
mission.
you wouldn't hire them, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And if it turns out that was a facade, this is not the guy I hired.
Yeah.
Just have the conversation.
Time to roll.
Because it costs you more to get rid of them than it does to hire them.
Well, it costs you more having them around too, because your other good employees are watching that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen a culture in a dealership
Get
go
fractured.
bad because
Completely
you
fractured.
bring in a bad egg? And it's so counterproductive. But you can't be afraid to stand to your morals, to your standards, to the things that you want to achieve, just because you want to fill a chair.
Right.
It's no different than sport. We all play sports.
I was getting ready to bring that up, brother.
I mean, the locker room.
What's a culture at an NFL team, man? And what are we talking about right now? We just had some coaches let go, right? And you look at the squads that are, Detroit Lions, man. What kind of culture they have there with their head coach, right?
Yeah.
And you start talking about that, and then you look my squad that I support, right? Because I work for
No,
them.
let's call who it is. The Indianapolis Colts.
It is
Okay.
right. And
no better boat.
And
as
I'm
a Dallas Cowboys fan.
and we got a disastrous culture right now at that squad. You talking about the tail wagging a dog, and think about that for a second, right? Because it's another industry, right? But think about the money. Think about managing that, right? You got employees, right? Players.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about money, right? They're other than the owner,
millions.
they're making far more than the coaches are, right? And
Absolutely.
so you got. Why should any of those players on Detroit Lions listen to Dan Campbell?
They bought into his vision.
There you go.
He's authentic, and he doesn't let anybody slide.
Nope.
if you're not, if you're not part of the crew, get on.
Right.
We're going someplace.
Right.
And if you're not dialed into it,
Right.
and you have a problem with being held accountable to the things that you told me you wanted to achieve, then maybe we just have a miscommunication and there's another place for it.
Exactly.
You look at your team. I can't name one player.
Hold on a second, man. I'm a fan. It's not my team. I don't have any owner. It's not the Green Bay Packers, bro, where I got ownership in it.
But
right?
every time they take an L, there's a little bit of you.
It hurts.
Oh,
It hurts.
okay,
It hurts. But I just want, because I always laugh when guys say, "Hey, my team." I'm like, dude, did you play for him, or is that you own any part? Now, if I was a Green Bay Packer fan, I could save my team if I had ownership in it. But
Right.
yeah.
Okay, well, your team, all right.
them Colts.
Yeah. So your team, they sat there. They got a problem in their locker room.
Yes.
You got
Yes.
players that I've never heard of before in my entire life going to their franchise quarterback and calling him out.
Well, look, I don't want to get too far sideways here, but that's a franchise quarterback that tapped out in the middle of the game because he was tired.
Yeah, because he was tired.
But then there's that.
But the point being is though, do we have the wrong players? And that's what we have to ask ourselves inside these dealerships.
Great point.
Do
Great
we have
point.
the wrong players? Right. But did the players? Okay, you think about some of these players, whether it's in a dealership or whether it's on a football team, a baseball team, a basketball team, it doesn't matter. Did they raise their hand and say, "I want to go play for the Colts"? Did they get with their agent and say, "Hey, man, I want to go play for the Colts"?
No,
they were selected.
They were selected.
Right.
But
like we do in a dealership.
But in the dealership, though, hang on, more times than not in a dealership, you raised your hand and said, "I wanted to go work there," and
That's
you put
true.
your freaking application in.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So shame on those people for not doing their due diligence to see if the core values and the vision of that dealership aligned with who they are as an individual.
Or could they be a person that changes? How many times you seen a one player? Now, when I'm talking about it, I'm talking about a player in a dealership.
right.
How many times I had it happen?
Well,
How many times you had a person come in and change the culture in the store because of their personality and their work ethic, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get a new guy in that's kicking everybody's butt, and now everybody start edging towards that guy, right? Creates a competitive atmosphere. Next thing you know, the culture in the store has changed, right? Absolutely. How many times have we said when we were managing the store, things were going, and I know I have said, "Man, I need to get a horse in here, right? Because he's going to change the culture in this store."
Absolutely.
And it happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, okay. So let me go back to the Colts situation. Someone pulling.
I was trying to get us off that.
Well, but the parallels, this is the thing I love about sports. What you see in that situation, you see in everyday life.
Yeah.
So the Colts, before the draft, how many millions of dollars did they spend looking at all of the available players that were coming down?
Yeah.
And they decided that was the guy for them.
Right.
Everybody that was available. And then the head coach hadn't set the tone in that locker room. I mean, any locker room that I've been in, if there was an issue, if I felt like you weren't pulling on your end of the rope the way you should, I'm not going to go talk to the reporter. I'm not going to go talk to my wife at the time.
You go ahead, come right.
I'm going to come to Chris. Yeah. Let's go have a beer. Let's sit down. We got some things we need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't been set in that particular situation.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Same thing at the dealership.
Yeah.
If you got guys that are, being dishonest, skating people, or dodging a manager at the desk because they feel like they can get a deal done with this manager.
In the old school day, we go to the bullpen to have that conversation.
Right. But times have changed. But the thing about it is that culture has to be protected. And like you said, if you know what's missing in the culture of that dealership, you can go out and find it. I mean, there are talented salespeople.
But who sets that culture? Who sets that culture?
If it's not the dealer principal, it's got to be the GM.
Bingo.
If it's not the GM, it's got to be the sales manager.
But no. I think you're wrong there. I think it's the dealer principal and the GM. Those two have to be aligned.
And then it's up to the team to protect it.
I can promise you that some of the dealerships that we've had a conversation about, there's a sales manager or there's a salesperson in that dealership that's not getting direction from the dealer principal or the general manager,
or their department head.
that could change the culture of that dealership just by assuming a role and saying, you know what, I don't like the way this is going. We got no vision. We got no mission. I'm going to set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
That's leadership.
Hey,
Right
I'll go biblical on you.
That's leadership.
I'll go biblical on you. Where there is no vision, the people will perish.
Right.
Yep.
But you're
But there,
right.
anybody in
That's
that
what happens.
dealership
could step up.
dealership
could step
perishes.
up.
Could step up.
Anybody in that dealership could step up.
Could step up.
You're either a thermometer or a thermostat, right? One is going to tell you what the temperature is. The other one's going to set the temperature.
Set the temperature.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's good
So,
stuff, man. That's,
Yeah,
that's spot on. That's spot on. Hey, listen, when we're talking about, we reference that dealer that signed up in August and
Is that
has
that Chevy store?
somebody,
Oh, easy, man. Go.
somebody, yeah, somebody in
on
that
blast.
store could have said,
No, that's why I said the Chevy.
somebody could have said, hey, man, I've been on meetings with these guys. They got something that they want to help us with. Let's go, right? And that's being a leader, right? But nobody stepped up and taken that charge.
Absolutely. And you even got silent leaders with what we provide for a dealership. And you have one particular individual who's going to do what he's supposed to do inside of the tool
Mm-hmm.
and do his job.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It begins to elevate himself above everybody else. And then what starts happening? Everybody's looking at him is like, what in the
Because the success
what
starts
in the world
Right.
has gotten into him?
Right.
Hey man, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. I'm just doing my job.
Did my lot walk today.
Oh, tell me how you go through your day. Well, I signed in the lot walk and then I signed in the CRM. I follow my leads, selling cars.
Mm-hmm.
Before for him, maybe it should work
Yeah.
for me. And a rising tide raises all boats,
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, the fact of the matter is we lack some leadership in some leadership roles, but we also have some folks who have the ability to become leaders who are just kind of sitting back in the cut, waiting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be our next sales manager? Who's going to be our next GM? Because they can see that, that vision is not clear.
Yeah,
And that accountability.
If sales managers and GSMs and GMs, if they're not grooming their replacement, there's a problem.
Absolutely.
There's a problem.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think back to Ronaldo when we brought you on board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you remember correctly, John, we brought him on board. He was in a completely different role
Mm-hmm.
than what he's doing today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I even said it to you at one point in time. The plan is him to take over what I was originally hired to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And was I threatened by that? Hell no, I wasn't, because I want him to succeed, just like Jason wants you to succeed, just like Jason wants Brett to succeed. Okay. We're taking all the people around us that work with us, and let's just call it what it is, work for us. Okay. And we're trying to level up.
Absolutely.
We're trying to level up. John Maxwell said it the best. If you're not okay with failing forward, you need to go work on your own leadership skills.
That's where your best lessons are at.
Okay. Yep. You need to work on your own leadership skills. Okay. Because we have to be okay inside the dealership, whether it's an individual contributor, whether it's a leader within the dealership, you have to be okay to put yourself out there and fail.
Yep. So let me ask you a question with that being said, because I know a lot of times this is said when, guys like us are sitting around the coffee table talking about this stuff, right? You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution, right? Mm-hmm. So we've been talking about a lot of problems.
So what's the solution?
What's the solution?
Okay, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Number one solution, and I've said it multiple times, and I hope for y'all that are listening, I hope for y'all that are watching, I hope you understand that the number one solution to the problem is understanding what the vision is for the dealership, for the ownership that you're working for.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is identifying, does that vision align with my core? Because if it doesn't, it's time for you to get your flagpole and go stake it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to be miserable, and it's a job, and it's not something you get to do, it's something you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then from the leadership standpoint of it, have I cascaded the vision out of what we're going to do for 2025?
Right.
Have I cascaded the vision out of what we want done by the time summer gets here? Have I cascaded the vision out of what we want for this first quarter? Have I cascaded the vision out of what we want for this month? And it's not to net X dollars, to gross X dollars, to have X amount of retail units sold, new and used. That's not 100% it.
No.
Is that how we're measured?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how we're measured.
Yeah.
No different than a head coach of a football team. He's measured by the wins and losses.
Wins and losses. Yep.
But there's not many first-year coaches that come out and take it from zero to hero like that.
Right. No.
But they have to set the vision. So
Right.
I think part of the solution right now is we have to have a clear line of sight,
right,
from all facets, individual contributors and leaders within a store.
Good way to say being transparent. There's accountability and that's both ways, right? The leadership to the sales team and the sales team to the leadership, right?
100%.
Because if you're not getting what you need to be successful, you know, you need to speak up. And look, this all relate in order to be successful. Going back to Andy Frisella that we listened to this morning, dropping F-bombs about work ethic.
Love that guy.
It's about work. Don't kid yourself, right? That's why all these things that Chris and Ronaldo have been saying, about environment, about leadership and all that, and making sure that you align with what the vision is for the dealership is because the responsibility you have is to go in there, you get to go in there and you work, right? And there's so many distractions nowadays, but the bottom line is I've got to go in. If you're not making a plan to be successful that day, the day will work you. So you're either working the day or the day will work you. And so that's the point about this two-way conversation and being transparent with one another so that through that, all the obstacles are removed, as many as we can. There's going to be obstacles that come at you every day,
Sure.
right? You're going to go in and your plan's going to get knocked off because things happen, right? As a general manager, I may come in the dealership at 6:30 in the morning and I've got a heat case back in service waiting on me. And that's going to knock my plan off because I got to take care of those customers. So you're going to have that kind of stuff. But if you've taken that time to communicate with one another and understand what the foundational principles are at this store that we're responsible for to pull off, it doesn't matter if you get knocked off. You're going to come right back to it, and you're gonna toe that line. And again, I'm going to go back to it. There is a chasm between the dealers that we see on our end that are doing that and the dealers that aren't. It's a huge chasm, right? The dealers that are doing that are consistently having success. The dealers that aren't are struggling with this up and down. I'm there one day for a few days and then I'm down. Then I add inventory and then everything falls and then I'm bleeding through and I'm aging and I'm costing myself money. Where the dealers that are accomplishing it, they're staying consistent. And the good thing about that is when you're staying consistent and you're doing those things, you don't want to, but you can afford to have a couple days where things go sideways because it's much easier to bring it back. You're not fighting that wave coming at you.
Because you got a culture and a process put in place.
100%.
A bulletproof culture and process.
And everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it.
Yep.
From the lot porter, the receptionist, to the owner, and all points in between, everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows that their job is a contributing factor to the overall success of the dealership.
Right.
But they also know that their job is as important as the general manager of the store. So if our leadership is not telling and is showing that the job that may be of lesser in some people's eyes, that job is so important that helps the rest of the world go round.
Right.
We got a problem.
Dude, it's all interconnected.
Yep. Absolutely.
We got a problem.
It's all interconnected.
So, you asked me to share what I share with our dealers when we're first demoing them, when we first launch them, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And it's real simple. We're not here to be your friends. We're helping you to sell more cars and make more money.
Right.
The part I left off of it, and by design, as we get closer to the end of this segment here of this episode 12.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
12 weeks we've been doing
I
this.
know, it's amazing.
I know, right? It's a lot of fun. But as
We get to do it.
yeah,
Yep.
it's so much fun. But the second part I left off of that, we are not here to be your friends. We're here to help you sell more money and make more cars.
Right. Or
But if we
sell
become
more cars and make more money.
or sell more cars and make more money.
Yeah.
But if we become friends along the way,
Yeah.
it's a bonus to the paycheck.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that if we all collectively, whether it's third parties that are listening to our podcast that get the privilege to partner with our dealer partners like we do, whether it's individual contributor in a dealership, whether you're the dealer principal, whether you're a department head, a general manager, what have you, when you really kind of start looking at things at that vantage point, you can start that culture shift.
Yep.
That we are not here to make friends.
Right.
We're here to help sell more cars, make
Yep.
more money. And if we become friends along the way, it's a bonus to the paycheck. I'd be very, very curious for those listening, for those watching on YouTube right now. Drop in the comments. Do you know what the vision is for the place that you work at? For those leaders, do you know what your vision is, and have you cascaded that to the people? In a third group,
Mhm.
for people like us that get to partner with our dealerships out there, do you know what the vision is for that dealership? That'd be something that you 100% have to understand.
Yeah. Man, you're nailing it, brother. Hey, you know what? I want to add to the.
I wish we had an organ.
I want to add. I want to add to the do you know list. Dealers and general managers, do you know who your vendor partners are, and if your team's utilizing to
Hey,
the
can we take
fullest
the
extent?
vendor part out of it?
I hate that. I hate
Okay.
that word. Thank you.
Take the vendor.
Thank you.
Who's your
Thank you.
partners? If you want a vendor, call Centos and
Thank you.
Coca-Cola.
Thank you.
They'll put some nice floor mats in your place, and they'll fill your pop machines up. That's
Thank
a vendor.
You
Right.
caught me.
Yeah.
All right, we're partners.
We don't
You
operate in that
Yeah.
world.
Well, it's funny you say that because you're spot on, and so shame on me. But I was just thinking while you were talking.
Senior moment.
I was thinking while you were talking about you saying if we could become friends along the way, and what I was going to ask is because we've all had it happen. How gratifying is it when you get a dealer partner call you and say, "Hey, man, I was thinking about this. What are your thoughts on this?" Right?
Mhm.
That's that. When you get that call, right? It's gone beyond.
It's a partnership.
Oh, yeah.
It's gone. Yeah. Yeah.
How many times have you guys had how many times have you had a dealer call you going, "Hey man, I've wrote this new comp plan out. Will you take a look at it for me?"
Yeah. Speaking of which, our producer's back here, man.
Send a signal.
Yeah, he's
flares.
sending signals up, right?
Yeah, smoke.
Listen, the great thing for you for this
Yes.
discussion we're having
Oh.
and being around dealers that get it and being around. Listen, I was a part of a 20 group for an OEM, and it was excellent. And the dealer partners in that group were. Dude, I was blessed to be a part of that because they were longtime people, man. And I got pulled into that group. But I'm going to tell you, we've got our Lotpop 20 group coming up February 24th and 25th,
Mhm.
right? And so for anybody listening or watching, listen, we offer a free sit-in
Yep.
in our 20 group. And so you can come and sit in and observe or participate. They encourage participation, even though you're a sit-in, and decide whether this is a 20 group you want to be a part of. But I'm going to tell you something, fellas. The thing I love about it is we got dealers that have 25 cars on their lot. We've got dealers that have 225 cars on their lot. We've got dealers that are single point stores. We've got large groups that are attending this 20 group, and the conversations that happen around the table and the care that happens, right? I remember when Brandon was here, man, he was talking about some issue he's having, and I saw those
Everybody
dealers
rallied
gathered around
him.
him. Man, it's so awesome. It's next level. So seriously, if you want to come in and check it out, I encourage you February 24th and 25th, Brett, right?
February 24th and 25th.
25th.
But let me expand upon that though.
Well, wait a minute. First, let me finish.
Okay.
Where do they go to sign up? Where do they go to sign up for?
Oh, that's easy.
It's lotpop20.com.
Oh, that's right. Lotpop 20.
Lotpop20.
Lotpop20.com. Now, but here's the cool thing about this, because sometimes when you hear somebody advertising a 20 group, they tune out. So if you tuned out, tune back in for a minute. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But think about this. When you go to a 20 group, okay, it's all about, are you on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the composite?
Right.
Mhm.
You know, and it's a ding-a-ling sizing contest of,
Right.
oh, I'm on this side or I'm on that side. Okay, why aren't you on this side, Ronaldo? No. Our 20 group is built exactly how it should be. And that is a group of dealers that are trying to help themselves and one another. It's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
And those guys, they talk throughout the year. It's not just at the 20 group to come in, hang out here at the Lotpop HQ, because that's another part we left off. Our 20 group is held right here at Lotpop HQ.
The mothership.
At the mothership.
Yep.
It's facilitated by Jason Rice, our president, founder, CEO.
Yep.
But here's the other part we didn't talk about. We also run our university at the same time.
Yep.
And our university, to give you guys kind of a heads up of how we do this, usually our 20 group attendees come in, and even the guests that get to come in, they come sit in, but they bring other people from their dealership, whether it's sales manager, used car manager, BDM, business development manager, internet manager. They bring other people in because we're running our university simultaneously. We're running that simultaneously, and they get to work on best practices in the daily operation on the front line.
Right.
But then we bring everybody back together because we always have a guest speaker. Mm-hmm. Like last time we had both Frank Knox and David Spizak. You remember that? Oh, they was preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
But we had them in the days that Frank and Spizak were speaking. We joined the whole group together because there's nothing worse, John, than when you have all these great ideas spitting through your head and you go back to the dealership and you throw them all up on everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. And you usually got them from like the guest speakers. But when you now have the other side of the house of our university, those attendees that are usually the sales managers, used car managers, GSMs, internet BDC managers, they're hearing the same message you're hearing.
Yeah.
Now you've got that power of everybody coming back to be able to say, hey, this is really a great idea.
Well, we're talking, I threw it out there. I said, we've been talking about the problems. Let's talk about the solutions, right?
Okay.
And that's most definitely
a solution.
A solution, right? And the great thing about that university, and Chris, I know you lead that thing and you do a great job. Great thing about that university, it doesn't cost you a dime.
Doesn't cost you anything.
You just have to get here, right?
Just show up
and listen.
We feed you.
I wish we could spin the camera around because our facility we're sitting in right now we got ping pong tables. I'm looking at a bowling table, arcade games. Listen, here's another good thing. It's a day and a half, man. You're in, you're out, get you back in the dealership, taking action on the things that are talked about. And then you guys they go out and have some fun, man. Listen, I know we've gone on this, but back to the point.
It's a solution.
It's a solution.
It's a solution to the problem.
It gets you away. Look, it's like when we get on a meeting with a dealer and we hear them at the sales desk, we know we're in trouble because somebody will walk up, they're working a deal, they're answering the phone.
And we don't fault them for that.
No, but we also understand that a lot of what we're talking about, very little of it's going to be retained because they're getting distracted so much. And I understand it, right? Sometimes it's the only solution. They don't want to miss their meeting, but they got to be at the sales desk. The nice thing about the 20 group in the university is you don't have any distractions, man. You're removed from all that for a day and a half, and it's intense, focused solutions to things that you're having happen in a dealership, right? Which will help you get better. So again, I know we beat that, but it's worth it.
Go ahead, Ronaldo.
You guys did a fabulous job setting up the 20 group and the university.
Okay.
I'm thinking that I'm out here and I'm watching this for the first time.
Okay.
And I'm curious because of what we just talked about. How can I find out more about what Lotpop does? And I might be going to NADA. How can I plug in to you guys to get more information on the processes and everything that we do prior to coming up for 20 group or for Lotpop U?
So there's two things. We're doing something uniquely different at NADA this year. I know we've talked about it on some previous podcasts here, but one of the things I'm so excited for is the hot seat.
Yep.
Okay. In the hot seat, what that's going to be is we've got some of our best in class dealers that are well respected in the automotive community. They're going to come sit on the hot seat. We've got some of the best partners out there, like guys like Tommy Gibbs, folks like Stacy, folks like Frank. They're going to come sit on the hot seat. But what's this hot seat about? The hot seat is we're going to take those best in class dealers, and they have zero shame in their game. Okay.
Yep.
No matter how well they think they're doing, they're begging us to find a hole in their business. So publicly and live, you will get to hear, in most cases, it will be Jason Rice, our president, founder, CEO.
Which is fantastic, man.
Tearing apart their inventory, finding areas of opportunity.
Yep.
And if Jason is, because he's a pretty sought after guy, he's busy, you very well could see Ronaldo, John, or myself leading the hot seat. But you'll get to learn more at booth 1219, 1219, right there. We're just right in what I call kind of the midway of the whole convention. We're right there in the heart of it, the thick of it. We're damn near the dead center
Come say hi.
of the NADA convention. Yeah. More than anything, let us know you've been listening by coming in and saying hi. Let us know what was your favorite podcast. Okay. Let us know what you want to hear.
Yep.
Let us know what other partner that you may be using that you would love to hear on this podcast. We are not scared to pick up the phone, because at the end of the day, we are all still salespeople. I will sell somebody's ass on why they need to be on this.
Right.
Okay.
So
to help preach the gospel.
So it helps.
Yep. Okay. Because we want to help our dealer partners. So definitely, Ronaldo, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Man.
Booth 1219, NADA, hot seat.
Yeah, but I want to say this real
Say
quick
it.
for me, because Ronaldo asked, if I want to find out more, how do I get? So here you can reach me, John Anderson, area code 317-533-3202 is my direct cell phone, or you can hit me up at janderson, ANDERSON at lotpop.com, and I'd be more than happy to share anything you want to know, or any questions you have, or anything you want to talk about. So that's the fastest way to get a hold of me.
Yeah. And you could also go to lotpop.com.
Yep.
And go to our team page, and you can find Ronaldo.
Yep.
You can find John. You can find myself. We are happy. You don't have to be a client of ours.
No.
We are happy to unpack your inventory, your processes, anything that you've heard on any previous podcasts, anything you've heard today. Hey, listen, if you're a dealer principal and you're pissed off that the way that we sat there and said that,
please.
You're talking about vision and accountability, and I've been doing it. Hey, great. Call us.
Good on you.
Okay, good. If you don't like it, fine. Call us.
Or introduce yourself to us at NADA. Let's chop it up, man. Let's chop it up.
But definitely come hit us up and let us know you don't like it.
Yeah.
But share with us what your vision is. Mm-hmm. And guess what? If there's a hole in it, we'll poke that too. Okay, so it's all right.
We'll still love
it.
But
if it's bulletproof, we'll share it with some of the dealers
100%.
that we come in contact that need help.
No, let's
That's how we get some of our best ideas, right?
We'll steal it. So, Ronaldo, anything from here at Lotpop HQ, episode 12, anything in closing from you, sir?
Oh, man. I pretty much kind of threw it all out there on the table. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that if you're watching this and you're listening to this and you're not in a management role, but you aspire to be, just start with seeing yourself in the role that you want to be in and how you would want your next level manager to treat you. Treat others that way. Set an example and be that thermostat that's going to change the temperature in the room.
It condition people how they need to treat you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Anything from you, John?
I'd just add to what Ronaldo said from a management perspective. I would challenge all you managers that are sitting at a desk now and working with your sales team. I would assume that most of you come up through selling. So remember what it was like to be out there pounding the lot in the cold, shoveling snow, wiping off cars, pounding the lot in the heat. You're out there with customers that come in looked online, found a car, they thought they wanted to come in, and they start changing their mind. The guy's out there sweating, and then he comes into you. Remember what that was like, because when you see those guys walking towards the desk, your response should be, what you got? Come on, let's go. Not looking at what they have and putting the paper back across the desk. You ain't got nothing, right? Yeah. Listen, man, the culture is created by people that have that mindset that I get to do this. And that's coming both ways, from upper management and also employee level. So you guys treat one another that way, man. Remember where you came from, right? I think that's anywhere, right? Remember where you came from.
Yeah, absolutely. So great stuff today, gentlemen. I'm so glad, Brett, thank you for giving us the topic for this week.
And your patience.
No, listen, man, that just goes with the territory. I mean, come on, man. This is a complete shit show at times. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
But more importantly, though, thank you, Brett, for that. And more important than that, thank you, listeners.
Yeah.
Thank you, viewers.
Yeah.
We love that you've been on here.
Yes,
so from here at the Lotpop HQ, from all of our Lotpop family, from Ronaldo Leonard, John Anderson, myself, Chris Keene, we thank you. We hope we see you at NADA here in just a few short weeks at booth 1219. We hope you take us up, pick up the telephone and give us a call, shoot us an email, go to lotpop.com, our staff page. You'll find all of our contact info. From here at Lotpop, again, thank you so much. We are really excited to have you on the next episodes. And more importantly, guys, let's take the suck out of this business in 2025.
100%.
Absolutely.
Let's take it all out of there.
100%.
Can't have
Thank
fun.
you.
It ain't worth
Good job,
doing.
man.
Thank you, guys.
Good job,
Appreciate
man.
y'all.
We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.